Hey, Tanner James, DJ, TJ Training. Back up as a mobile DJ. What do? What if something goes wrong, and what do you do to prevent anything from going wrong? So look, I've been doing this a long time. I've run into a lot of issues, so I kind of know what to do in every situation. And it really isn't as bad as it seems. Nowadays, the equipment is so good that it doesn't tend to fail a lot. But you still want to be prepared no matter what, because you don't want to run into an instance where it does fail, or you're using older equipment and something happens and you aren't prepared. You want to look like a professional at all times, and this is how you're going to do it. First of all, what you need are two cables. I actually did a whole nother video on it. Two cables every DJ must have. The most important cables for a DJ. RCA to 3.5 millimeter. This is going to be to plug in your phone into a mixer that has line inputs as RCA. Now the second cable you're going to need is XLR male, okay, to 3.5 millimeter jack. Now this would be used if your mixer went down, or it didn't have line inputs for the RCAs. So what you're going to do is you would plug this into the inputs to the speakers, or if you do have XLR cables running up, you're just going to run the XLR cables in here, plug your phone in here, you're good to go. Awesome backup solution in case any of your gear went down. Should that be the mixer or your laptop, you are good to go. How do you prepare for this? First, you're going to need some kind of music source on your phone or your laptop. Now I recommend having it on both, because in case your laptop goes down and that's the source of the issue, then you really want to have some backups. Now what you're going to need to do is load some music onto your phone. Now I'm not saying play music off your phone at all times, but I'm saying in case something happens, you can do it. Also, I recommend making mixes beforehand in case something goes wrong. So what do? Maybe 30-minute mixes, and you're going to have a few of them loaded on your phone and a few of them on your laptop. Because in case the mixer goes down, then you can still play it off your laptop, and in case your laptop goes down, you can still play it off your phone. Now it depends what kind of events you're doing, right? If you're doing mobile events, I would recommend having at least 4 hours of music on it, because in case something happened when you were loading up, most mobile events are around 4 hours, so you can still get through the night. I recommend also having single songs about 4 hours on it. You could also get a dedicated MP3 player for this, just in case something were to happen. The only thing with that is you have to make sure it's charged. So as long as you're on it and you're making sure it's charged, that's an awesome backup, and you don't even have to worry about taking up data on your phone. You can have a few mixes, and that's what I used to do. I used to have a few of them dirty mixes, just in case. I had a few opener mixes, I had a few wedding mixes, and I had a few school dance mixes, all kind of pertaining to that kind of thing. I had some music from the 80s on there as a mix, and some from the 70s, and then the 90s, and the early 2000s, and all the way up to modern music today, some EDM, just in case something were to go wrong, bam, I can play it. What I also did was I also had some CDs made, just in case I was on some CDJs, I was in a club, I was doing something with somebody else, and something happened to my laptop, I could just get a CD, put it in the CDJ, and go old school. So you can do this with USB drives, which is also very helpful. What do you do with speakers? What if a speaker goes down? You should always be over prepared for it, just in case something like this happens. If your speakers can handle 100 people, you should not be doing events for 100 people. You should be doing events for maybe 60 or 70 people. Now, when you have an event for 100 people, I would say get some speakers that can handle about 130, 150 people, just in case one of the speakers goes down, the other speaker can still get you through the night. Now, I know the goal is that you have a whole dedicated backup setup in your car, or just as a backup, right? Just in case something were to go down, you can do that. This is an awesome idea. The only problem with it is that it can, one, get expensive, having a whole entire backup, and especially when you're starting out, that can be difficult. The second thing that's hard about it is that you are then taking up a lot more space in your car, and many DJs don't have trailers, they don't have the ability to accommodate extra speakers as backup speakers in their main car to and from events. So yes, this is ideal, but the only issue is that not every DJ is able to do that. Now, what is very helpful is having multiple amps. I did talk about powered speakers, and powered speakers have their own amp built into each speaker. So if you get two speakers and they're both powered, you actually have 2 amps, which is good, because in case one amp gets overloaded, you still have the whole separate other amp. If you're using some passive speakers, the thing with this is that generally you run it off of 1 amp. I recommend buying 2 amps just to be safe, in case one amp does go down, you have a whole other backup. So what do you do if your mixer goes down? Well, this is pretty simple. You're just gonna get these cables, plug them in, and you're good to go. So let's say maybe your main XLR cables go down. This is what I recommend you do, and it's all preventative. You have to do this stuff before you actually get into trouble. I recommend having at least 1 extra backup. So For every 2 cables that you need, I recommend having at least 2 more. So if you have 2 XLR cables, right, let's say they're 25 feet and they go to the speakers, I recommend getting 2 pairs of them, not just 1 pair, but as some backups. I also recommend that you get the same surge protectors and backup cables just in case something were to happen. Now, lighting is very important to the success of a night, but it is not as important as a speaker, right? So this is one thing that you can get away with if something were to happen. But make sure that you're bringing enough lighting that in case one unit does go down, you're not risking hurting the whole entire night. This is a really important thing that I think a lot of DJs don't think about. Laptop cables, okay? And these can be expensive, right? I mean, they're like, the Apple ones are like 80 bucks and they can get super expensive. I recommend buying a backup one, keeping it in your case of cables or your tub or wherever you keep it, just as a backup. Again, these are all preventative, so you have to do it before you actually run into issues. Now, here's the thing. You can sell this to clients saying, look, in case something goes down, I have all the backup gear that would help me get through the night. And this can be a huge selling point versus DJs who don't have backup gear. So definitely make sure that once you start buying this stuff, you may invest a couple $100 in backup gear, but that will get you so many more events because you have the backup gear. And brides love that. They want to make sure that just in case something does go wrong, that you are still good to go. Microphone. Let's say your microphone goes down. What do? I recommend, I have a 3-pack of Behringer microphones, okay? These microphones, they were 40 bucks when I bought them and it has 3 of them. So they're very, very cheap, but they are pretty good quality. Now, they are not my main microphones that I use all the time, but they are good enough quality. So it'll get me through a night. I keep one in my bag at all times just in case I show up to a club or any kind of event and I forgot my microphone or I don't have it, bam, I'm good to go. So with an extra backup microphone, if somebody needs to do an extra speech or whatever it may be, you can definitely get through the night. If you forget yours or if your main microphone breaks, whether it's a wireless or a wired, you can plug it in and you're still good to go. Let's say your headphones go down. What I do is I actually get a pair of like iPhone cables and I just throw them in my bag just in case I'm all good to go in case my headphones do go down. For the most part, in case something does happen, you are good to go. Now, if you have any more questions about backup gear or what would you do in this situation or what about this or what about this, let me know down below in the comments and I will tell you exactly what I think you should do in that situation and what you can do to prevent it, because a lot of this stuff is all preventable, or at least you can mitigate the damages that happen and make sure that it isn't as bad as it could be. So definitely make sure you have some of the mixes, you get the backup gear that could possibly be used. Now, a lot of this gear won't be used, but for a couple $100, you are definitely saving your butt and you will book more events and get more clubs and get more weddings because you have the backup gear. Tanner James, DJ TJ Training, thank you for checking out the video.